What's up everyone? Welcome to another episode of She Social here on my YouTube page. Thank you so much for joining me every single week where I interview phenomenal women who are doing big things in the music industry. As usual, I ask you to do one thing and one thing only. That's to press that subscribe button, but also over and above that, join me in the comments. Like, let me know what you want. Let me know how you're enjoying the videos. And of course, let me know who else you want me to interview. So for today, I do have two awesome ladies who are going to be joining me in conversation. I do have Fif Laaa, who is an amazing hip-hop DJ, and I will be speaking to Ritabile, an amazing vocalist. But first, let's kick it off with Fif Laaa. Hey babes, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine. Are you keeping well during this lockdown, you know, staying home and staying safe?
I am. How are you?
I'm okay. I think we're all kind of rolling with the punches, you know. After every speech that Uncle Cyril has to say to us, you know, we always have to keep in line and make sure that we're behaving, you know.
Definitely, because we still have hope that like the gigs are gonna come back. So we gotta stay healthy so that when the streets are ready for us, we're inside.
100%. I think that's the one thing every artist is missing right now is being able to go to a gig, because that's what gives us life. That's what gives us energy. Fif Laaa, you are, I think you caught my eye with the type of, caught my ear rather, with the type of hip hop that you have chosen to kind of bring yourself into the industry with. But for those people who don't necessarily know who you are, can you give us a brief breakdown?
Okay, so I'm Fif Laaa. I am a hip hop DJ as well as a strategist. So during the day, I'm a strategist in advertising, and then at night, I unleash the DJing side. I play a lot of old school hip hop, old school neo soul. Here and there, I play like old school house, depending on the event. But yeah, those are my main genres, and alternative music as well.
Nice. Why is it that you have chosen to kind of take that direction of going more old school, more retro funk type of hip hop, as opposed to what other people do, which is, okay, let me just play the hits because everybody wants to play the hits.
So, I mean, I grew up listening to a lot of old school because I have older siblings. So that's what they listened to. And a lot of the times when I'd go to parties, I'd always hear like everyone playing like your mainstream and commercial stuff. But I've always wanted that nostalgic feeling when I go out, and I wanted to hear like a lot of old school jams, you know. Sometimes you just want to reminisce. And that's how I ended up just playing old school hip hop, because I don't know a lot of DJs besides Denise Mars, who play a lot of old school hip hop. So it was a niche market that I felt like I fit perfectly into, and that is why I chose to go that route.
Nice. But what actually made you decide, look, this is the music I want to hear when I'm at an event? Why is it that you chose to actually be a DJ? Because you could have been anything else. I mean, going from advertising to getting into music, a lot of people would say that music isn't really the most viable career for you to get yourself into, because you're constantly on the hustle. So what made you choose to actually say, you know what, I'm going to take the risk?
So, I mean, like at first I didn't even intend on having like a huge DJing career. I just wanted to learn as a hobby, just to play around with it. And I've always loved music. I've always had a passion for music. For me, getting into music was more for my mental health, and just finding an outlet that could help me improve my mental health. And then when I got into it, the lady who taught me how to DJ, she was like, I think you're ready to like play gigs. So I was like, okay, cool. Then she booked me for a few gigs. And then next thing, other people are hollering. And then I'm like, okay, cool. This is it. So clearly it's my calling. And that, I think, it verified for me that this is actually my calling. So I might as well just get into it and accept it for what it is.
That's so awesome, man. Who was your teacher who actually taught you how to DJ? Because I like the fact that it's a female, because especially in this, you were always kind of looking to the guys for affirmation. So I'm glad that you had a female who was supporting you.
Yes, her name is Colleen, also known as Coco. So she started Pussy Party. I don't know if you've heard about it. Pussy Party happens every first Wednesday of the month at Kitchener's. So what she did is she also started workshops where she teaches femme bodies how to DJ. It's always been a passion of hers to teach people how to DJ. So every week, I'd go twice a week to Bram, and then she'd teach me. So she taught me for like 2 months, and then I started getting the hang of things, and then I also started YouTubing tutorials myself just to improve certain skills and so on. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. I like the fact that she is intentionally making sure that more women get into the DJing space,
Yeah.
entertainment space, because not a lot of people have patience to be teaching people how to DJ. Because I can tell you, as one person, I don't have the patience to teach anyone.
I don't have the patience or the equipment. I don't have the equipment yet. All I have is my DDJ to practice with. I don't know when I'm gonna get to the part where I can actually afford CDJs, but we'll get there. Like, I'm saving up for them. So.
Don't worry, babes. Kancane, kancane. But
Definitely.
one thing that I've always realized about a lot of people who get into entertainment is that they always have something that is kind of keeping them abreast, or maybe kind of financing their hobby before they can get into a full-fledged career. So you mentioned a little bit earlier that you are strategist and you work in advertising. What exactly is that space like for you when you're trying to be a DJ on the weekend but also be taken seriously during the week?
It's so hard because, like, for example, I have a lot of gigs during the week, right? So it's 9 to 5. I have to dedicate all my time to this thing. But then at the same time, I have to find time in the day to prepare my set. So it's like finding the time to prepare my set, or like I have to get in at, like, let's say 7:30, so I can knock off at 4, so I can get home, prepare my set. So it's a lot, but also it's two different worlds, right? So in advertising, I'm fighting like the gender inequality in terms of pay, in terms of my voice being heard, in terms of delivering things on time, so that they never have anything to blame in terms of my productivity, because a lot of people do know that I DJ, right? So I get into an agency and they know, they're like, no, but like you DJ as well. So I never want to give people the reason to, like, if ever I slack, they can't say, oh, it's because she DJs and she's always out DJing and stuff. So it's hard finding the balance, but I try to, like, I just schedule my days like that, especially when the gigs were coming in like a lot. I was just like, okay, cool. From 7 to 4, I've got work. And then 5 till like 8, I need to prepare my sets, and then I go to my gig. So it's
definitely intense, because I know a lot of time management has to come into play when you're going to juggle two different worlds and make them still be a part of you, because you still want to be able to shine and be the person that you are. So shout outs to you for obviously still taking that risk. And I know, because I was in the same position as you when I was still in corporate. I always had to also kind of juggle and be like, okay, people must take me seriously because I'm a financier, but then ngapa, I also want to groove and make sure people take me seriously as a DJ and they don't think that I'm trying to be a DJ. So it's kind of hard to kind of find that balance. But going back to what you mentioned now with being in corporate space, and I know sometimes that filters through in the entertainment space as well, where that where you get taken seriously for a female in your position. How is it that you are still kind of fighting that battle even in 2020, when we kind of felt like we had dealt with that some years back?
So it's a hard one, because especially when it comes to like your set fee, when people ask what you charge for a set, and you tell them, and then they're like, they can't afford it. I'm like, but I know a lot of guys. I'm friends with a lot of male DJs where people are like, as soon as they mention their price, people are willing to pay. So it's kind of hard to also, like, it kind of makes it hard for you to measure your own worth, you know? And then you always find yourself negotiating, which is fine. Sometimes I don't mind pulling favors for people, but sometimes I realize that a lot of people take advantage of us women in this space. And they're like, she's on the come up, so she should accept whatever it is we have to offer. But at the same time, you're also like, this is my time, this is my money. I spend money buying tracks. I spend money in terms of pouring gas to get to your gig. It's so many things that I factor in. And it's like, but some people still don't see you as worth it. And obviously, even in that space, there's a lot of male DJs that also play, like, for example, old school hip hop. So you also like trying to see, you always find yourself comparing your skill to their skill, and what is it that makes people take them seriously over me. And sometimes you find yourself that, like, you find that you actually play better than them.
Exactly.
You know? And you play better than them, but still, he's going to get paid more than you. And it's weird that it's still happening in 2020. It's like, guys, but at the end of the day, like, my skill is pretty much on the same level as his, or even better. But you still have to find yourself like, okay, fine, we can negotiate. we can drop it to this much. It's that's the thing that really bothers me.
It's maybe one of the most frustrating things that a lot of us females have to deal with. And it's not only in just the DJ space, it's maybe even in a space like corporate where you're having to deal in advertising for the pay levels are obviously different at some point. Even in entertainment, the fact that we have to constantly prove our worth by either negotiating our fees down or maybe being afraid of being considered coming off as a bitch, because now it's like, okay, now they're not gonna want to work with me anymore because
Exactly.
I won't be able to get into certain spaces, and they become like gatekeepers of specific events that you want to get yourself into. And it's tragic that you still have to kind of deal with these type of issues.
I even remembered, like, even when I had a manager, so I'm managing myself. I'm back to managing myself again. But when I had a manager who was male, it was still hard for him to also like try and like show people my worth, you know, like even him getting to prove other people my worth. It was also hard for him, and for him to always constantly remind me of my worth. It was so hard because I was like, I need this gig, but he's like, but they're not paying you what you deserve. So there's also battles between him and I. He wasn't getting my struggle that I face in the industry as a whole. So it was like also a battle between like him and I. When it came to managing me, it was just like it
will always kind of filter through to us as females, having to then hire other females, because that's the only way we'll be able to understand each other. Because once we're in the same space, kind of battling the same things, it's easier for a woman to be able to speak up for you and be like, I'm trying.
Yes,
she's
exactly. Exactly.
And another awesome thing about you that those who are in Johannesburg would know, but maybe not the rest of the country, is that you also have a residency on YFM, and it's one of the bigger hip hop radio shows with Scoop Makatini and Buntle Modisele. Well, Buntle Molloy rather, actually. I need to correct myself every time because I'm so used to calling it by her old surname.
Right,
but,
yes.
But yes, on the rodeo every single Sunday you have a residency and you rock for an hour. And I always get the pleasure of listening to your set when I'm driving to my show, because my show is at the same time. So it's very difficult for me to listen to the rodeo, but then I listen to your mix when I'm driving to the SAPC. And it's dope to kind of have a residency like that, because you're also on such a big show with such big clout. Do you find that you might have had some animosity or maybe some bad feelings from a couple of guys who might have felt that they deserved that residency over you?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I've had guys come up to me, you will not believe, I've had guys come up to me like, I don't understand why you get more gigs than I do. Oh, how did you score that residency? And it's like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry that I love my job so much and I actually work so hard to get to where I am. In terms of YFM, I haven't really seen a lot of animosity in terms of that. Like, so whenever I go through the Facebook comments on the YFM page, some guys will throw like shade here and there, you know, just trying to throw me off. But I realize like those are just distractions, because I know what I'm there to do and I earned my spot on the rodeo. So whatever they have to say, I really just like pocket at the back of my mind, because I'm like, that's just a distraction and I just need to keep moving forward. Because I realize, especially like one thing I know about myself is that like when I take in negative comments, I really like I entertain them so much, but I'm starting to learn how to just like let go of the noise. I'm just like, let it be noise and that's it. Like, it can't deter me from the path that was set out for me. Like,
exactly, because you're there for a reason at the end of the day. I mean, you had been
exactly.
YFM called you. They didn't call any other DJ. They called you.
Exactly.
So I think that's the important thing that you also need to take away from that. I know social media can also become a little bit of a deterrent, especially with self-confidence in this industry. And sometimes you have to kind of filter through the negative comments and say, okay, that's constructive criticism, but this one is the hater. How do you find yourself balancing the two with regards to some of the comments that you'll see on social media?
So I mean, like, for example, for one person who'll say, oh my gosh, your set sucked. I'm just like, okay, shut. I'm like, that's negative. Let me move forward. Someone once said, okay, cool, your music selection is dope, but just work on your mixing a bit more. That is constructive. I'm like, okay, cool. And I can take that because, for example, sometimes I know with some sets, I'm like, okay, I didn't mix that well today. In some sets, I'm like, okay, I did well today. So that I can take. I'm like, yeah, actually need to just go practice the transitions a little bit more and improve on that. That I can take as constructive. If you're commenting on my skill, that's when I can say, okay, I'll take it in. But if you're just gonna say, you suck, you're bad at this, I'm just like, come on, my guy.
That's not gonna filter at all. You know what it is.
Yeah.
Twitter fingers.
Like, some people really don't have filter. Some people are like, oh my gosh, the music you play is boring. Cool, it's not for you. Keep it moving. Change the station. I don't know. Like, you have options. You have options. You literally have options.
One thing that did stand out for me, though, when I have been listening to a lot of your mixes also, has been, I don't hear a repetition of a set ever. I always hear new songs, even if it's like old school songs. Maybe you're always kind of teaching me of certain artists that I haven't had my radar on. Because with me, because I'm a commercial radio DJ, I'm always looking at, you know, the headliners of what's happening within the music space. Obviously in South Africa, it's also kind of, okay, who are the A-listers that we can kind of constantly be playing on radio, or even in my DJ set. But I find you always find these alternative type of artists that you're always playing in your sets. Is it intentional for you to go and search for those people, or is it just a majority of them kind of throwbacks?
So for me, it is intentional. So I always go on Spotify. Spotify is like my favorite platform right now, streaming platform. So I go on Spotify and I just put on shuffle and I just go down like a rabbit hole of music. And then I like the ones that I'm like, okay, cool. I know I can mix it with this track. So that's how I find most of my new tracks. In terms of old school, there's a lot. Like, there's a whole archive of like old school tracks. So with old school, it's very easy to just go back into my archives and I'm like, okay, I haven't played this before. So let me mix this with some new school. Because I also like to mix the old school with the new school. I don't like to just play a full old school set and a full alternative. I like to mix the two to show that like music is timeless. You can literally mix it with whatever. So yeah, it is intentional for me to never like repeat a set. I always want to search so that I'm putting people on. I think one of a DJ's job is to put people on good music and new music at that. So especially when I'm given a platform like Wi-Fi, when I'm given a platform like radio, it's important for me to introduce people to new music. And what I've even noticed is that like, even when I play new music, I'll hear it on the station next week. I'll even hear it during the week. Like, people like, so I'm like, okay, you guys are clearly listening.
Exactly.
You guys can see that you see? So I also put the station on.
That's so dope, because at least you know that you're influencing in a positive direction. You know what I mean? You're opening them up to other music that they hadn't necessarily had considered, because it's always been about, okay, what's commercial, what's hot, what's good right now. But it's good to also be able to have a different type of an ear or a sound to feed into other people. And it's not only just people who want to listen to what's hot right now. They want to hear music that they can only find on a Spotify, or that they can only find in like rec shops that haven't been released in like a number of years. So you're still influencing in a right direction, you know what I mean? Do you find, especially because you're in the advertising space, do you find that sometimes you'll be in a meeting and maybe they're working on a campaign, and then people want to kind of throw names around, and you might be in a position to put somebody on? I find that we have these conversations all the time with a lot of other artists and DJs that sometimes brand managers just want to put on their friends. Do you find that it is a bit of an even playing field when it comes to campaigns like that and putting on different types of artists and musicians?
So I mean, like, with me, I can speak from my experience, right? I used to be in client service before I was in strategy. So I would always put on, like, I'd always recommend new influencers or micro influencers to clients. And it depends on the kind of brand manager you're working with. So luckily at that time, I was working with a brand manager who wanted new faces. She was tired of seeing like your usual influencers. But for example, I have been in a position where a friend wanted to put me forward for a campaign, and she did put me forward, and then I made it, right? And then last minute, this guy's like, I actually don't know who this girl is. So he put his friends forward. And then he put his friends forward for the campaign. And I was so sad, because at the time I was unemployed. I wasn't getting a lot of gigs. So I was chilling at home, and it was a big check. Trust, it was a big check. And I got excited. And then next thing they're like, listen, dude, he actually opted for his friends who are influencers. And then when I went and I saw the final campaign, it was people that people are used to seeing. So I was like, you see. So like, there isn't a lot of transformation in that space. I think a lot of brand managers put their friends on. And like, that is a fact I'm willing to say out loud, because that is the truth. And they promise their friends these kind of campaigns. So it's very hard. But I always try, whenever it's a campaign that I like did the strategy for, I put names forward that people have never seen, but that are actually very influential.
Yeah.
So yeah, at least I have that power to do that because it's my campaign. I thought about it, so I get to choose the faces I want for the campaign.
But that's all we need at the end of the day, because the music industry is very vast, it's very big. And I also think the pie is big enough for everybody. We shouldn't be hogging it with only just specific faces, repeat specific faces to constantly be doing the same thing. I also think innovation is very important. People want to see these things. And that's why conversations like Open Up the Industry are very prevalent, because people also want to have, at the end of the day, there's always going to be new kids who are coming into the industry because by a graduator or maybe by they also want to come in and say, okay,
exactly. I mean, the lifestyle is nice. When you look at influencers, they're living nice. Everyone wants that, you know? And people are deserving, especially if they're willing to put the work in terms of content creation and whatsoever. Like everything, like everyone deserves it, man.
100%.
So,
100%.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you're going to continue to support up and coming artists, and as well as we're going to be supporting you in your music. So Fif Laaa, just as a close off, let us know what more we can expect from you for the rest of 2020 and maybe even 2021. How are you going to shake things up in the music industry?
Okay, so in 2020, I actually have a set coming up on the 9th of August. So watch out for that. Watch out on my socials for that. I'm also going to be doing a lot of live mixes on my page for the rest of the year. I also want to get into producing music, actually. So that's going to be one of the skills I'll be teaching myself during this lockdown period. So hopefully next year, beginning of next year, I'll be releasing some singles. I'm hoping to release an EP.
Nice.
Hopefully. So yeah, that's the dream. That's the goal. Let me rather say that's the goal, because that's what I'm working towards. And hopefully when the streets open, I'll be playing at more festivals. After Afropunk, I realized that I really like the festival space. So hopefully, God willing, the festival space will open for me and I'll be playing at more festivals. But yeah, so far it's just live streams and stuff.
Yes. All right, cool. Yeah. We definitely will be watching. We'll be keeping our eye on you. Just for those who are watching, just let us know where we can follow you on social media so we can keep abreast of what's hot and happening in Fif Laa's life.
Okay, cool. So you can follow me on Instagram. It's Fif_Laaa, 3 A's. You can also follow me on Twitter, same handle. You can follow me on Facebook as well. You can like my page. It's Fif Laaa, the DJ. And yeah, also my SoundCloud, it's Fif Laaa as well. So follow me.
Thank you so much for joining us. And do you have one specific tip that you have for viewers at home to keep it safe during this lockdown so that we can open the streets again very soon?
Yes, guys, please stay at home. Please, please stay at home. Keep your masks on. Please sanitize. Like, don't go anywhere, guys. Just stay indoors for as long as you can, because we really need to combat this virus. So just follow the rules and regulations, man, so that we can all go out and have fun.
You sound like you were frustrated by the speech when we were told we're not behaving, so we must just stay home. You sound like you were the ones who was like, but I've been staying at home.
Yeah, I was though, hey, because I was like, okay, I just even with the alcohol ban, I was like, okay, cool. I'd go to the bottle store, then I'd come back. You know what I mean? I've been following everything Cyril has been telling us to do. So guys, let's just do it so that do you not miss gigs, hey, Miss Cosmo? Do you not miss the streets?
Of course.
Can they do it for us?
just so that we can get that feeling again. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I hear you, babes. I hear you so much. All right. Thank you so much for joining us here on She Social. And like I said, we will be keeping our eye on you and we will be listening for a little bit more. And those who are in the Gauteng area, you can listen to her on YFM every single Sunday on the radio. She is a resident DJ. You can also actually stream it as well on the website. So
yes, on the Wi-Fi.
You can also then check it out on the app as well as on the website and listen to her mixes. She is fire.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Miss Cosmo.
Thank you for joining me, Fif Laaa. What a funky personality, what an awesome person Fif Laaa is, and you've heard it from her voice as well. She wants to be different, she wants to be alternative, she wants to stand out from the crowd, and that's why she is where she is right now. As mentioned, listen to her every single Sunday on the rodeo, and of course, just check her out on some of her pages. She is streaming live, and just engage with her, man. Up and coming artists, I think, are the future, and we need to give them the opportunity. All right, so we are going to then check in right now with that awesome vocalist who gave us the song of the year last year, Ritabile. So we have our second guest today on She's Social. I have the one and only vocalist who gave us the song of the year last year. I am talking about Ritabile. Hey, babes.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, my darling. I'm good.
You seem to be on the move. Why are you in a car? Where are you?
Yo, I just got my license. Woo! I'm so happy. Yay!
Yeah. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you were able to get your license. How long have you been trying out for it?
Well, this is my first time, so I just got it instantly.
Oh, really? What took you so long for you to get your license? Have you just been a bit nervous, or what was the reason?
I don't really have an answer. I've been just focused on other things. Yeah, I think it's just the music thing. I forgot about the whole driving.
All right, well, it's good because now it just means you'll be able to drive yourself around to whether you have to go to shoots, whether you have to go to studio,
anyway.
Or maybe going to events when things do finally open up and lockdown is over. You'll be able to do stuff there. So it's positive. I mean, I like the fact that you're empowering yourself, you know? Because that's the first point of empowerment, I think, for a woman, is being able to take yourself places without having to rely on a man to get you there. So things kind of changed for you musically last year because you featured on DJ Zintle's Umlilo. And I think your voice has serenaded the whole country so much so that we're all just like, yo, who is this woman?
Yeah.
Why is she so fire? Why is she so fire? And we want to know a little bit more about you, which is why I've got you here on She's Social. So, Ritabile, give us a little bit of a lowdown about your musical history and how you actually got to meet DJ Zintle to make that fire song.
Okay. Well, I went to the National School of Arts. I studied music. I am not only a vocalist, but I am an instrumentalist as well. Like, I play almost all instruments. I play guitar, I play double bass, I play piano. I am a dancer as well. And there's so much, guys. There's so much. I did Idols twice. In Gapumagu Top 16. I was once with Afrotainment. Surely people are aware. 2018, I was with the Afrotainment. We did Unomatemba. And it happened. We could see sometime last year. Was it June? I think June. I DM'd Zintle and I asked Uzi, can I please work with you? And she instantly replied, like, unlike other people that I won't mention, she replied instantly, and we started working, you know. She's silent to science leader.
And then you got the song of the year. How did it feel to be recognized as the vocalist to actually make people dance throughout December?
Yo, it feels so good. I'm actually very proud of myself because people that know my history, they know Utsikate Nifuna Lento. I mean, I've done so many auditions, Miss Cosmo. I'm a line, but they said no, but look at where I am now. I'm not where I want to be yet, but I definitely know that I am on my way there, and I'm very proud of myself.
I think that's the important thing is also for you to understand your journey, to understand where you're going and where you're going yourself. So you mentioned your experience in Idols and that you made it to the top 16 twice. How was it that you, obviously the first time and then you get knocked out and then you're like, okay, maybe I can better myself, and then you go back a second time. How were both of those experiences for you and how did it shape you as a musician?
It was an amazing experience. I learned a lot. I learned to always be on my feet. To see anything can happen at any time. I mean, Go Idols, they'd give you a song at 6 p.m. and you'd have to perform it at 7. If you've never heard it before, you know what I mean? So you got to be on your feet all the time. And Idols also gave me a platform. Everyone saw, okay, there's this girl, Winikuma's daughter. That's what they always call me. But yeah.
We're going to get into that in a moment.
Babon, okay, this girl actually can sing, because a lot of people were like, no, Ritabile balancing umama akhe, and I just wanted to prove a point. You know, I can actually do this without my mom. I mean, when I was auditioning, she wasn't there. She wasn't singing for me. I sang for myself. So yeah.
And both times, obviously, you walked away a bit disappointed. You didn't make it to the top 10. What did it teach you about that process?
To never stop giving up. Never stop giving up. Iminyango izohlala ivalwa everywhere, but trust me, one day ukhona umnyango uzovuleka. You know what I mean? So yeah, just don't give up on your dream. Just go for it, no matter how long it takes you. I mean, look at people like Ustrava. I look up to people like that because he's been around, but he never gave up, and look at where he is now.
Yeah, Jabba posted a picture of a throwback of 2008, and he looks like a young thing. And then everyone's like, Jabba, this is not you.
He's a hard worker. I look up to Jabba.
Yes, he is a hard worker, and obviously the music speaks for itself as well. But the music also speaks for itself with you and your journey. But take us through how it's always been a thing where people have kind of labeled you as Winnie Khumalo's daughter. Has it been something that has been a blessing for you, or has it been something that you've always kind of felt like, okay, sharp, yes, my mom, but can I also enjoy mina?
Exactly. Ish, babes. That's we ask. Well, I feel like it worked against me, because I wouldn't get all the opportunities that I deserved. They'd be like, oh no, she doesn't deserve it. I mean, Winnie Khumalo's on fire, you know, and I had to work harder to prove myself to people who to know whether umama mignaba Debra Fraser or ngawabani. If you are born to do this, then you're gonna do it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I hear you. I can understand the shadow of having to kind of live up to the expectation as well, because that also becomes a problem when you are known to be somebody's child. And then it's like, okay, what else can she do? Is she going to be just as spectacular as her mother? Is she going to give us a hit song just like her mother? So did that pressure also come on to you for you to instantly pop when you came into the music industry?
Most definitely. There was a lot of pressure, but God's timing goes back to God's timing again. I mean, Jongabang Shilo, I did Unomatemba. I thought it was going to be like a big song, but you know how it is with this music thing. Ingomia Puma, music top 20 kalagupi, and then it will move. So yeah, like pressure, baby. It was hectic. I mean, mama from me live my life to Axi, me and her working experience. She's worked with a lot of people. I'm a legend. I mean, like Uprenda Fasi, you know. So pressure,
it is a lot of pressure, but look, you're holding your own very well, and I think it's testament to the fact that not only was it Song of the Year, but you're also nominated for Record of the Year for the Summers 6. How are you feeling about not being nominated for the Summers?
Yeah, I am so happy. I wish we could go perform as performing, but hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just hope we see toil. I feel like we deserve it though. I mean, everyone was like, "Wow, put some lilo,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like everywhere, so I feel like we really deserve it. But if pasitolanga, I know we got it.
Definitely, that is so true.
Yeah.
A lot of your experiences have kind of honed you to be the person that you are. As mentioned, you went to you learned a lot about drama and to getting into the entertainment space, but learning and getting it through a textbook and going through teachers is one thing, but experiencing and having to deal with promoters, having to deal with event managers, having to deal with trying to get yourself out there, has it been difficult for you to kind of adjust the two of them, of what you were taught at school to actually living the experience?
No, it hasn't been difficult because experience ending when I was working with umama. I was my mom's backing vocalist. I was her dancer as well. So at the same time weekend I'd go with her and see, you know, how they are treated and how everything works. So it's been okay. It's been good.
That's good. That's good. I also just wanted to tap in a bit with an experience that you went through recently, where I think a lot of people were quite concerned. And again, I'm happy that you got yourself a license, because then now you don't have to depend on people. You were in a car accident, and it was almost touch and go for you. Can you tell us exactly
Yeah.
what happened on that? Because I only just saw some pictures, and your mom had posted some pictures on her social media as well, which
Yeah.
didn't really give a full picture. But I guess the rest of the country was concerned, you know?
Well, into engathanda ukuthi abantu bayazi ukuthi I was a pedestrian bengihambela estradeni and I got bumped by a car. I was not inside the car. I was walking on the road, and yeah, I got bumped by a car, and the rest is just
Did that person help you after they knocked you over?
Yeah, uyawama, and I think I'm not sure because I passed out. I woke up senses bedlela. So mom was the one who saw everything, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How Tuganga when you woke up?
I was scared, like I was confused. Why is everyone surrounding me? Like, what's wrong? You know what I mean? And they wouldn't even allow me to go to a bathroom because obviously, as you can see, I've got a mark there on my face. Yeah. It was worse, but now it's so much better. Yeah, it was just scary. I almost lost my life. But no, my darling, you still haven't served your purpose, Lana. So God gave me another chance. And my album is dropping soon.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. So we are revitalizing. We are getting into a brighter 2020. It's almost Women's Month. And obviously we want females to shine within the music industry. What can we expect from Ritabile? Because yes, you gave us Umlilo last year, but now we want to hear from you and your project and your direction and what you're going to take us through. Can you give us a bit of a breakdown?
I am going to be dropping an album with 18 tracks. Abaningi abaziyo music uplifta youth. I'm trying to bring the youth back to God because I feel like youth yamanje imoshekile badinga nje direction kancane. So yeah, the album is basically for youth in Tangazami, and 18 tracks. And I do have a song with Master KG on there. There's a song I'm going to work on now with Prince KB.
So you just put on my hits. You just want the hits. You want those songs that can take you to the top.
It's about time.
You know, the moment you make a song with Prince KB, it's an automatic hit because that guy, I know he's fun.
Yeah, he's amazing. He reminds me a lot of him and Mazel have a lot in common.
Yes.
Like, they're amazing. Shout out to Mazel as well. Mazel is also going to be dropping soon, so watch out for my nigga Mazel.
I like that you guys are still working with each other post Umlilo, and you're making sure that you guys are supporting each other.
Yes.
With your album, are you dropping it through a label or are you dropping it independently?
I am dropping it under my label.
Nice.
My label it's called Winnie K Records, and so far it's just me and my mom, and we've got another artist who's Sugar. He's an 11-year-old fantastic dancer. You will see him soon.
11?
That's where the talent is. Yeah.
That's great. I like that you guys are also uplifting each other, but you're also taking ownership of your music to make sure that people hear you and you're able to then redirect your brand to where you want it to go. So shout outs to you and shout outs to Umam Winnie Kumalo, because she's a legend and she's still a legend in our hearts. So it's that you guys have that unity to kind of empower each other. I want you to keep signing new artists as well. You need to sign more females because the women need more opportunities in this country.
Most definitely, yes, most definitely.
All right, thank you so much for joining me, Ritabile. I'm excited to hear what the album is going to sound like. I hope a single is going to be dropping very soon. I mean, like I said,
very soon,
around the corner. So here's your opportunity to take advantage.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cosmo. And I'd like to work with you too one day. Please consider me, you know.
Hip hop, we don't know, because you know sometimes people will do like a house song and then they want to kind of go that lane, and maybe they'll dabble in a bit of piano, but they don't know if they want to get into hip hop. So you need to tell me, babes.
I mean, I'm multi-talented, son of Sam. I do everything. I do jazz music, I do classical music, house, you name it, I'm there. I'm coming for all of it. I'm hungry.
Fetch everybody, fetch all of them. The space is open, the space is yours, the pie is big enough. Let's just make sure we conquer.
Yes, most definitely.
All right, thank you for joining me here on She Social, Ritabile. We will be following you. We will be following your journey. Now that you have your license, at least you'll be able to, you know, stay home, but you can leave when you want to leave. What are some of the things that you've been doing to kind of stay safe during this time so that you make sure, hey, Corona doesn't necessarily touch you?
Well, I've been home rehearsing because my pela ways babonisa ukuthi hello si relevant you know what I mean? So yeah, I've been rehearsing, gymming and writing more music, and yeah, I've been doing me and healing myself most importantly.
Yes, emotionally, we need to heal ourselves. I think a lot of people have been affected emotionally a lot by having to stay home, not being able to work. But you need to keep on working on yourself emotionally, and keeping busy also kind of helps. So the fact that you're working out to relieve yourself of that stress is a great outlet as well. So keep that up. But we will be watching and we will be following you. Let us know your social media handles so we can follow you immediately.
Okay. On Instagram it's Ritabile_RSA, and Twitter Ritabile_RSA, and on Facebook it's just Rethabile Khumalo.
Yes, there you have it. That is Ritabile Khumalo with us here on She Social. And there you have it, 2 amazing stories coming from phenomenal women in the music industry here in South Africa. That's what She Social is about, is to make sure that you hear these stories directly, coming from me, obviously, to you. Shout outs to Ritabile. She is a strong, powerful woman, and you can see that she's got so much more to give to the world. Fif Laaa as well. She's creative, she's strategic, and she's trying to make sure that she stands out from the crowd. And that's what we know as women, that we have that power to continue to hold up this industry for what it is. All right, so please continue to subscribe. Join me again next week here on She Social, and I'll be back. My name is Miss Cosmo.